find out what it really means to be rewarded.
Okay, be cool.
Hello, sir. You stopped me for your speed today. I got you at 54 and the 45, all right? It's going to be a warning, but I just need you to slow it down for me, okay? Thank you.
Sir.
Yeah?
I don't mean to argue with you, but I was not going 54 miles per hour. Because I had the cruise control set at 64.
All right, sir. Well, if that's the way you want to have it, here's your ticket for 64.
Thank you. For U64.com.
Introducing the First Alert Radar Network. First just got faster.
With up to 10 times the resolution of other local radars and technology that can pinpoint right down to your street.
The First Alert Radar Network. First just got faster.
You're watching News 12 on your side.
From the station that's on your side. This is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Good evening. If you're the victim of a crime in Richmond, Columbia, or Burke counties and haven't heard anything about your case in a while, you might want to check on it.
An all-new I-Team investigation is exposing local judges dropped at least 2,600 charges. And we're not talking about misdemeanors here. As our Meredith Anderson uncovered, these are felonies, and the timing might not be a coincidence.
You take a picture to preserve a memory, but this isn't a man Aspen LeBlanc likes to remember. Edgardo Cosia is also one our local courts tried to forget.
They make you lose faith in the system. Yeah.
A system that, at first, seemed to let a man indicted on 2 counts of child molestation totally off the hook.
As long as you flee the country and, disappear, you're good to go.
Until the I-Team started asking questions.
Nothing was really prompted until you had asked for my case file.
This is Aspen LeBlanc's case file. And the only reason the I-Team was able to get it is because her case is closed. And not because it ever went to trial. No jury ever heard it, and the only decision a judge made was to dismiss it. The reason? Even though he was indicted on 2 counts of child molestation, no one ever arrested him.
I could have maybe gotten it if it was a misdemeanor or something. Like, that's 2 felonies against a child. Like, come on.
And that's just Aspen's case. Documents show Eddie, as he was known, is no stranger to law enforcement. This wasn't in Aspen's case file, but the I-Team uncovered this detailed rape allegation from Florida. Cosia was never arrested for this crime either. Turns out, he couldn't be located for an interview. And that's not the only pattern seeming to emerge here. The state attorney's office seems to take issue with the victim not reporting the incident until 37 days later, even though the Sarasota County deputy wrote in his affidavit how she was afraid for her safety. Aspen's file includes a number of threatening text messages, but the I-Team uncovered other reports missing from Aspen's file. This woman, also in Florida, says she was a victim too, saying Cosia was threatening her. There are 3 in all. Deputies admit they can't find him, and the victim tells investigators he travels the country playing polo. Eddie is from Argentina, the world capital of polo, but it appears he was using the sport of kings as his pawn.
My dad was a groom.
Yeah,
He was clean. The poop.
That uncle was a polo player.
Right, and still is.
The girls met when Aspen's grandmother started dating Eddie, who apparently introduced himself to her as a professional athlete.
That's what my grandma said. She was like, he would tell me all these things about polo, and we would go out there, and I'd be like, so when are you getting on when are you getting on a horse? Like, when are you going to play?
As a groom, Eddie never played. He mucked out stables and took care of the horses. When Aspen's grandmother had to work, he told her he would take care of Aspen, too.
He was already gone by the time I had said anything to anyone.
Documents show Aspen's grandmother called the police when Aspen finally told her in January 2010 that Eddie abused her back in 2007.
I remember sitting in a room in front of a camera and I had like this piece of paper and I had to like mark where he touched me.
In June of 2010, a grand jury indicted Eddie on not one, but 2 counts of child molestation, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Multiple times, Aspen's file alluded to concerns about Eddie's relationship with his own daughter, but documents show Amy's mother had not had any concerns and did not want her daughter interviewed. The girls did not have any contact for a decade until Amy found Aspen on Facebook in 2020.
Like, she never messaged me because she thought I hated her. How could I hate you over what my father did to you, you know? Like, that's not either of our fault. It's only his fault. I'm sorry. It just, I called her and I said, ask her some questions. And our story just added up.
Stories that haunt both girls all these years later, which is why Aspen says she found comfort in at least knowing Eddie was a wanted man.
Probably once or twice a year, I would go on the Columbia County warrant page and I would look for his name to make sure he was still there.
Until one day she noticed his name had disappeared. Surely, she thought, it had to be a mistake.
So I contacted the judge's office. The judge's office was like, yeah, well, that got signed off, so you'll have to contact the DA's office. So I contacted the DA's office. They sent me to the victim advocacy office.
Who told her about this, a dismissal for want of prosecution. Basically, this case is closed because Judge Wade Padgett noted nothing had happened with it since 2010. The case has not been tried. The arrest warrant has not been executed.
Like, had I not looked into it, I would have never known. I would have never found out because they didn't have the decency to call either.
Notice the date. The order for the case to be closed came on March 24th, 2021. It was officially filed with the court June 17th, 2021, just in time for a very important date.
But first up this evening, a decision comes down on Columbia County's split from the Augusta Judicial Circuit.
A Superior Court judge just deciding this afternoon the split is constitutional and can move forward.
July 1st, Columbia County's split from the Augusta Judicial Circuit would be official. Lawmakers passed a bill, and Governor Brian Kemp signed it into law. Richmond and Burke counties would still be grouped together, but Columbia County would now be on its own. And it appears a lot of court cases like Aspen's could have been collateral damage. Multiple sources tell the I-Team hundreds of other cases were dismissed around the same time, but it looks like that number could be in the thousands. In Burke County alone, the I-Team uncovered judges dismissed 1,556 charges in June of 2021. Richmond County was reluctant to provide this information to the I-Team, but eventually gave us this list of 1,143 charges, also dismissed. They range in severity from murder to aggravated assault to armed robbery to rape to child molestation. We are still trying to get a list from Columbia County.
Did someone just put a bunch of cases in front of you and be like, you know, these are all really old, sign them off, and you just didn't care, so you just kept going?
News 12 reached out to Judge Padgett, who signed off on Aspen's case. We have yet to hear back.
It's hard knowing I'm not the only one in this situation now, too.
Which is why Aspen is fighting back. She's fighting for those of you watching right now who might be affected by this and might not even know it.
I'll go look at the court dockets and see if it still exists, because mine doesn't.
Not long after this interview, that changed. According to this, days later, a new grand jury met and indicted Edgardo Cosia on the same charges. This popped up online, though, showing he was now wanted on 2 misdemeanor charges. When the I-Team asked the Columbia County District Attorney's Office about it, we were told they were felony child molestation charges, and shortly after, the website changed to reflect that. District Attorney Bobby Christine declined an on-camera interview, but when asked if he was able to re-indict because Cosia fled the country, he writes, "There is reason to suspect the defendant resided outside of the court's jurisdiction prior to indictment," meaning if he did go to Argentina, we argue that the statute of limitations has been told. That basically means the case can't just be dropped because he ran from it. It can't legally be considered an old case because the clock should have never started ticking on it.
People make mistakes, but you don't make the same mistake over and over. You don't act like it never happened. You come forward about your mistakes. You come clean.
Aspen says her fight for justice is no longer just for her or for the other victims in her case file. She's also fighting for the victims in other cases who might not even know their case was dismissed.
I feel like I've grown into the woman I wanted to protect me when I was a kid.
The kid in this old photo, still haunted by memories. Memories the court dismissed. So what's next for Aspen's case? If arrested and convicted, Kosia faces 5 to 20 years on each count of child molestation because this would be his first offense. But remember those rape charges we uncovered in Florida? Had he been arrested and convicted on those, he would have been in prison when he allegedly molested Aspen. But hypothetically, a conviction would have meant a mandatory life without parole for Aspen's charges. As for the thousands of other charges dismissed, the I-Team will post the list we have so far online. Plus, I will be combing through them to learn more.
All right, thank you, Mayor, for uncovering a very important story here in our area. Hey, looking at our temperatures today, we actually...
The annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in downtown Augusta is just around the corner, but this year organizers may not have to pay the city to have Richmond County deputies serve as security. Our Craig Allison live on Broad Street right now for us.
So, Craig, what's different this year, and how could this affect organizers for other events down the road?
Well, right now, nothing is a done deal yet, but some city leaders are worried that if they pay the bill for security now with this organizer, it could be a slippery slope to more money gone down the road.
The fact that it is a Friday this year, it should be bigger than ever, and the fact that we are kind of post-COVID now, we're definitely expecting a whole lot of people in the tap room.
Savannah River Brewing has been brewing extra for the past 6 weeks to prepare for this year's celebration, and for good reason. The Augusta Irish Heritage American Society says the parade brings business up around 379%.
And we had a great year last year. The first 2 years of this year have blown out the sales records we did last year, and so I have nothing but high hopes. So I'll have a big crowd out here on the 17th.
It's this economic boom that has some commissioners wanting to help cover a $3,500 security fee for this year's parade. But some say this could lead to a slippery slope of other special events also asking for help. Commissioner Jordan Johnson has already tacked on the Band of Brothers to tomorrow's agenda, who run the city's Juneteenth celebration.
There are events, say like the Ironman or the 5K that we just had, which also requires deputies to work, and they also pay the special duty rate in order to have a deputy there.
This also includes Soul City Cycle and the Pride celebration. While it's just $3,500 this year, it could turn into the city footing the bill for $21,000 if those groups we mentioned ask. And current city leadership says that they haven't sponsored or helped pay a security fee for non-sponsored city events. So tomorrow's decision could set a new precedent. In downtown Augusta, Craig Allison on your side.
All right, thank you for that, Craig. We are looking at a warm day tomorrow, but cooler temperatures as we move past our Tuesday. Have an update on the full forecast just after the break.
And some changes to SPLOST that may increase the chance of getting voters to approve a new James Brown Arena. We're going to tell you how that will work when we come back.
Then that rain does look likely by Friday.
Coming up, an inside look at the sensory room at the Children's Hospital of Georgia on this Miracle Monday.
Your safety comes first with the First Alert Radar Network. First just got faster.
When disaster strikes, all calls, all lines.
You may not see it coming, but when disaster strikes, call George St. Gentry Lawyers and all nines.
We love highlighting patient stories on Miracle Mondays, but we also like showing you what your dollars help provide kids at the Children's Hospital of Georgia when you choose to donate.
That is what it's all about. Zana Halliburton takes us inside the sensory room, an area benefiting kids of all ages.
You can find the sensory room on the second floor of the Children's Hospital of Georgia. Inside, you'll see kids like Knox, who's almost 2 years old. He has Charge syndrome, which is a disorder that affects many areas of the body. It can cause some developmental delays and can impact the eyes and ears. Knox has spent time in both the neonatal and pediatric intensive care units since he was born.
He was very sensitive to the hospital in general. He didn't like coming to appointments or therapies, and then they introduced him to the sensory room, which was new at the time, and the first time they brought him in was probably the first time he didn't cry.
Both of Knox's physical and occupational therapies now take place inside the sensory room.
He's definitely re-engaging, and we're getting there, so it was really neat to see that he's responded so well to this room too.
So, what makes Knox happy? All of the awesome gadgets he can touch, hear, or look at. He spends his time working alongside occupational therapist Ashley Inman, who says this room is designed for kids with sensory processing difficulties, as well as those with anxiety. Overall, she says this is a calming space.
This is our light-up table. So we've got different textured items. We can also do things such as pre-writing skills where we might use shaving cream. We might use some type of other medium where they're fascinated by the light. We've got a bubble wall over here. We've got these light-up fingerlings. And then down here on the floor, we've got some different types of sensory tiles that certainly have the visual component, but if they have their shoes off or their hands, they can also get the tactile feel as well.
If you've donated to the Children's Hospital, this is an example of what you're supporting and the faces you're helping.
When they see kids like Knox and how much a space like this, their little donations, their little contributions here and there, it can really change a child's life. I tell everybody that before he was born, I didn't think of the importance of living by a children's hospital, but now I couldn't live without one.
Reporting in Augusta, Zana Halliburton on your side.
As you can tell, a pretty special place. The rehabilitation department worked on setting up that sensory room for the past 6 months. They expect it to grow even more.
It is a wonderful idea. They've done a fantastic job with it, and they also get families involved and show them what they can do at home with their child to keep the therapies going. But if you want to support child, as always, we have a link for how to donate online.
And we hope you will. We're back after a quick break.
Sure. This weekend only, James Brown Arena. Tickets at DinosaurAdventure.com.
Hey guys, I'm Anna Christina, and I'm here with the owner of Roof Savers, Russell Beckham. And Russell, we've talked about how roof rejuvenation can save someone up to 85% of what it would cost them to get a full replacement. But break down again what it is and how it works.
Absolutely. The process of roof rejuvenation is reintroducing the protective qualities to asphalt shingles, bringing back the flexibility, also sealing down the granular layer, which is very important because the granular layer is what protects your shingles, and the longer they're down, the longer your shingles last. Also, adding resistance to hail damage is very important.
Absolutely, so they can extend the life of your roof from 5 up to even 15 years. So why is it important for people not to wait?
Maintenance is key in anything. If you take care of what you have, the longer it lasts. Your roof is no different. One application can extend the life of your roof for 5 years, and this can be repeated up to 3 times, so you can get an additional 15 years of your life expectancy out of your roof.
That is amazing. And listen, if you want to call for a free consultation to see if your roof qualifies, you can do that. But don't just take it from us, take it from all the happy customers, including me and my husband, Ryan.
The roof is a major expense. This product can save you a ton of money. As you can see the before and afters, and it is plain as day. This was simple. In and out process. It's a win-win for everybody. My roof went from old and damaged looking to clean and new. When Roof Savers finished my house, I sent them over to my business partner's house. He ended up saving $8,000.
If you think it may be time to replace your roof, give Roof Savers a call first and see if roof rejuvenation will work for you. Save your roof and save money. Call the number you see on the screen right now.
You can check us out online at myroofsavers.com.